So today is the preparation day. It is Friday and we are preparing for the Sabbath day, which also happens to be the 6th day of the week, pushing us to the 7th day of the week. Here is the plan. Here is the plot. I want to speak to us as Christians, yeah? Come closer. I want to speak to you, a Christian that is watching me this morning. Oftentimes I've heard statements such as, you don't act like a Christian. And I think it takes me off like on a wrong note, because I believe we as Christians, we are not supposed to act up. We need to live as, yeah? So I would think it's better for someone to say you don't live as a Christian instead of saying you don't act as a Christian. Because I feel when you talk about acting is more of like putting up a performance, like more of putting up an appearance, yeah? You just show someone that, you know, I am this, but in actual sense, what you are doing at the back is something else. But living means this is part of you. It is your behavior, yeah? Whether you're being seen or not, it is your behavior. So many of us, at times, you know, we find ourselves when we're in public eye, we do certain things because we want to be praised, because we want to be acknowledged, because we want people to see us, like we do it as a way of showing off. And you know what that happens is because we put a show. And it even becomes worse that at times we put an act before God. Now, we forget that God is omnipresent, omnipotent. Like, God knows us. He knows the hairs on our head. He knows our heartbeat. You know, He knows the rate at which our heart beats. He knows our future. But some of us even pretend before God. Some of us, you know, find ourselves in situations where we are, you know, we just put up appearances, someone to say, oh, this is an elder. But what this elder does is something else. I remember there's this elder, I'm not going to mention the church, yeah, but there's this elder that I visited a church. So when I visited this church, I went with a non-Adventist friend. No, I think I should let this be. I should let this be. I'm not going to share this story intentionally. Yeah, the Spirit has said no. So I'll just give you a scenario, another scenario. Let us take for instance, yeah, as Christians, youths, during the Global Youth Week, we normally have, you know, outreaches and all that. So just imagine during the outreach, you go out, maybe you've gone into the public. Let's say maybe you've gone into your neighborhood, and when one of your neighbors sights you with the church members, she starts laughing. But why is this neighbor laughing? Because they are surprised that you, like a whole you mean you're a Christian, you actually go to church? But you know why they're laughing? Because of your behavior. That is just a scenario, yeah? Just imagine such a scenario. While you're at church, you're something else. But when you're at home with your neighbors, you're another. As Christians, that is living double standardly, and that is what is expected of us. We as Christians are expected to live in a way that glorifies God. We are expected to live as Christ lived, not because we can, not by our might, not by our authority, but through the strength that Christ gives us, through the wisdom, through the might of Jesus. You and I can be able to emulate the life of Christ. I would rather live with someone that is genuine, someone that shows you. You know, at times we have people that come to church dressed skimpily and all that. In as much as we are skeptical, myself, I'm skeptical about them as well. Like, you know, I'm like, okay, I give you a side eye, but I feel I am better with such a person because, I mean, they've openly come to us. That is who they are. Even when you find them in the week, that is how they dress. But then you find Sister Comfort, who is always very decent. Long-armed clothes when coming to church, very long skirt or dress. They do not show anything. They get to a point of at times wanting to cover their head. But then when you meet them in the course of the week, you're surprised. Like, is this really Sister Comfort? I feel, you know, we act up a lot as Christians. We are not being authentic. We are not being real. And that has somehow degraded the church. That has somehow, you know, watered down our Christianity. It has watered down our faith. Because when you come to church acting to be righteous, and yet what you do is contrary to what you do on the Sabbath day, there is no way church members are going to help you. Because we've seen people that dress skimpily coming to church, an elder or maybe a deacon, a deaconess will be able to walk to them and tell them, you know what, you need to change your dress code. But you that comes church neatly dressed, you come on time. How am I going to know your weakness? How am I going to help you? And that has, devastated us as Christians. Which is why at times, I'm not condemning, but this is the reality. Which is why at times, you find situations whereby someone that you least expected gets pregnant out of wedlock. And yet the person that you would think it's obvious does not. But do you know why? Because this person has all along been acting up. They act up to be right. They act up to be doing the right thing. But when no one is seeing them, when they are away from church, when they are away from the eyes that know them, they are doing contrary. But this very same person that we take for granted, the person that we look down on, the person that we think is a sinner, does the same thing. As the way they speak at church, the way they behave at church is the way they behave anywhere else. This person is right before God than you that pretends. So my call for you this Friday, as we prepare for the Sabbath day, is do not act, Don't put up appearances, but rather authentically be yourself. When the harlot came to Jesus Christ, she did not come pretending to be what she was not. She did not come wearing this righteous, picture. She came just as she was. When Zacchaeus was coming to Christ, Zacchaeus did not do so as a righteous. He even confessed to Christ, and Christ was able to bring him closer. But let's look at those that thought they were perfect. The rabbis. They thought they knew it all. Did they get any closer to God? Make yourself right with God. Do a very personal search deep inside your heart, a personal reflection, and ask yourself, where am I with God? Am I acting or am I being real? Remember, you cannot lie to God. God sees your heart. You're saying something else, and then in your heart there's something else. Let us do better as Christians. My name is Comfort, and that is all we had time for today. Let us meet again next week. I wish you a lovely Friday, a blessed Sabbath day, and a wonderful as well as fruitful weekend. Until then, I love you so much, and bye.